Supreme Rice. Since the 1930s, supporting Louisiana farmers and communities throughout Louisiana. To find out more, go to supremerice.com.
Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Modesto Tacos, Tequila Whiskey here, Burbank and Nicholson. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott, Jordan Kinchin's back in the studio. Glad to have you with us this afternoon. Good-looking day here in Baton Rouge. Jimmy,
it's not bad.
Good. How are you? Yeah,
get out and about a little bit today, man.
Get
not
moving.
Bad.
Get moving. All kind of stuff.
Are we supposed to have an Arctic blast coming through or something, or is it just at night kind of?
Is that what it requires to beat Kentucky? Is that the last time LSU beat Kentucky when that big that really
There's
cold
been a few.
night?
I remember the one, driving down Nicholson in the snow, in the slush. And the only place to park was on an incline by the old Huey P. Long building there, kind of coming up from the gymnastics building. Lost that one, but it was was that.
There's been a couple.
That wasn't the same year. Oh no, we beat them that game.
Yeah,
that's right. We beat them that
Ice
game.
Bowl. Yeah, there was about
Ben Simmons. We rolled them that year.
There was about. A lot of the bottom bowl was full, but it was mostly students. And it was the year they closed the bridge, and Baton Rouge was basically on. Everything was.
No, I mean it was. You had to go 20 miles an hour. Down Nicholson.
It was a small crowd, but it was boys.
It was awesome.
LSU's beaten them since then, but.
But the Ben Simmons in their undefeated team that lost to Wisconsin in the Final Four, then Duke beat Wisconsin. That was back-to-back years, right?
Yes.
Because we rolled them when Simmons was there. I mean, we killed them. And they were like top 5, I think, or top 10 maybe.
Yeah, that
beat
was
up about 18.
Calipari and the twins in the backcourt twins.
Well, Harrison twins were there for multiple years.
Yeah.
I think they came back.
They were on that team that we're talking about.
Which one?
The one with the ice game.
The one that LSU won.
Yeah.
And then they came back the next year because they returned for the team that went undefeated until the Final Four.
Yeah. So
those were back-to-back, correct?
I think so, without looking.
What was Ben Simmons' year?
15, 16. So you can take a look on that. LSU and Kentucky play tonight. Kentucky is a 4.5-point favorite. LSU figures to be without Didon Thomas.
2015, would you say?
15, 16? That was the Simmons year.
So that had been after the year.
It had been the 16, January, February 16.
So,
I think is what we're talking about.
Wisconsin beat Kentucky in the Final Four in 15.
15. Okay. Yeah. So the following year. This used to be the centerpiece.
First game I ever went to.
LSU, the 78 when they all fouled out, all the starters fouled out in LSU.
Both teams.
Starters for both
all
teams.
10 starters,
right. If you want to go back to Dale Brown dropping the Tiger out of the ceiling, or Kentucky's 31 point.
It was 79, 80. What was that? Their first conference championship against Alabama when he dropped Mike the Tiger out.
1980, I believe.
It's 80. We won it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This used to be the centerpiece of the conference schedule.
Because Dale was scratching and clawing, and he was, hey man, a little bit of Will Wade when that year we went to Rupp. It changed everything. Everything on how everybody looked at LSU's basketball program as a threat, and then here comes the heat, including internally, which was nice. Charlie, Kentucky's the benchmark,
Kentucky.
man. It's Alabama football, it's LSU baseball, it's Kentucky basketball.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yes.
In the expectation level, in the history, and the shorter fuse and the resources and the whole bit. But it's a man. We don't want to bang on them any more than we have to. I mean, been there, done that. You know where we stand. But, boy, it's just sad, the buzz or lack thereof.
I would imagine there's going to be a few more people at the game tonight just because, and hear me out on this, the students came back this week, but that aside.
So they'll be there. Yeah, it'll be.
So you get a few more people for that. There are people that have bought LSU season tickets that I would imagine have maybe been to one or no games so far, judging from the attendance.
Conference opener, huh?
Were there? There's 3,000 people there. I mean,
there's not a whole lot of season tickets. I've talked to a lot of season ticket
right.
owners that had enough.
So if you bought season tickets, isn't this the game? Follow me.
Yeah, they'll go. Yes, this is the circle.
This is the game.
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely.
If you bought season tickets just because you bought them,
not any good.
If you bought season tickets just because you bought them every year for however long, and you looked at this non-conference schedule, and you go, I ain't going to any of that. And then you looked at South Carolina, who was picked to finish last in the league, and you're like, not really. And then you sit here and you're at your desk this morning, and you go, I paid whatever you paid for them, and you're like, I ain't been to a game yet. I just shouldn't go to Kentucky if I'm going to go to anyone, right? If you haven't been to – there hasn't been an opponent or this team has struck your interest at all, you say, all right, I'll go. It's Kentucky. If I'm not going to go to the Kentucky game, why'd I buy the tickets?
Yeah, because Kentucky's not as good as several teams in the league this year, but it's
that
still
are coming back.
The most juice.
Correct.
It's still the most juice.
And it's still early enough that you can talk yourself into hope if you want to. I'm way past that, but if you want to.
In school, so I went, in the mid to late 80s, graduated spring of 89. It was one of us maybe in 87 – or no, because it may have been one of those teams. I mean, we had to stand in line for student section, to get a seat. It was the last week of the last game of the regular season. This used to be scheduled either here or Rupp as the last game. LSU's 81 team, the only loss was at Rupp that year.
2 points at the buzzer.
Yeah, we clinched. I could tell you who was on the team. Nebojsa Bikomarovic, missed some free throws down the stretch and let the Kentucky back door. But anyway, that was that era, and we clinched the SEC title.
Yep.
Yeah, outright. And it was stand in line, kind of. It was a full house. It's Kentucky, man. It's Kentucky, and Dale prided himself that it seemed like was he a little bit more comfortable in the underdog role? Absolutely. So no matter if we're favored or not against Kentucky, you could book it. We're going to bring our best against Kentucky.
There have been some historic games. LSU blew the biggest lead ever.
Oh, the Mardi Gras game.
In the Mardi Gras game.
Yeah.
But LSU,
we weren't that good that year.
They weren't. But you would have figured they could have held a 30-plus point lead. They also held, and I think still do, the biggest win ever for a conference opponent at
on
Rupp.
the road. Sunday game.
Yeah, beat them by like 35.
I think that was 87.
Like 76-41 is what sticks in my head.
I think that was the regional final team.
It just
Daryl Joe was hitting threes. I think it was the first year of the three. No, it was an ABC game. You didn't have every game on at the time. It was a Sunday game, and we were like double-digit underdogs and beat them by like 30-something. Yes.
Roger Harden going the length of the floor in the PMAC to lay it in. You remember
that?
That would have been late 80s, early 90s. It was just a heartbreaking loss because it was one of those tooth and nail games back and forth, and Harden got the ball and went the length of the floor.
It's such an important game in '78 because, not to overemphasize because I was there, but it was a breakthrough game. It was the big, bad Kentucky. They were on their way to winning the national title. That was a national championship team, and here's LSU trying to break through. And what was LSU's breakthrough game, in the the Nick Saban era, to try and get through? Maybe Georgia?
Georgia was a big breakthrough game nationally. Tennessee got them going that first year, the overtime win.
Tennessee was a hump game. There's no doubt. But it was that game, and it was just – place was just electric, man. Now, this is pre-baseball. And, can your fan base get fired up, A-plus, support, involvement, fired up for everything? Yeah, I guess. But, we have seen where one flourishes, the other one minus football. We're talking about everything but football.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones don't quite live up, to expectations. When has LSU basketball and baseball both just been popping?
That 87, 88.
87 was not a great season, Charles.
Well, they went to the Elite Eight.
I understand.
Okay.
But that 87 season was not a good – 86 and 87 were not good seasons.
2000.
They were 11 seed in 86. It's not a great year.
2000 LSU basketball makes the Sweet 16, and LSU baseball won the national championship.
Well, in 2000 we won the conference, though?
I don't remember.
Well, wait, it's last year.
No, the year 2000. John Brady was the coach.
No, my bad. My bad.
2000.
Oh,
2009, LSU won the conference in basketball and won the national championship.
Florida won the conference in 2000.
Okay.
Yeah, because they won a national title.
2009, LSU wins the conference in basketball. They were the 8th seed, remember, or the 9th seed. They lost to North Carolina second round, but they won the regular season title. 2009, and LSU baseball won the national championship.
Yeah, by multiple games.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then in 2019,
but
Wade and them won the conference, and LSU was a super regional.
We won the conference by 2 games and 8 seeds.
The league was lousy.
I understand.
The league was lousy. And I'm going to give you one more game, and then I'm going to tell you why we're doing this trip down memory lane. The 2019 game at Rupp, when Kentucky was top 5, and Cavell Bigby Williams tipped it in at the buzzer and probably should have been goaltending. You remember that? The big transfer from Oregon, the big 6'9", 6'10" kid on Wade's team?
Wade's team. Yeah, that was a breakthrough game where it brought all the heat.
The tip in at the buzzer, which probably should have been offensive goaltending.
Calipari's calling the office. Our compliance is drug testing us as soon as we get back. Yeah, the whole thing.
The trip down memory lane is because there's not a whole lot of optimism around the team right now. They're probably going to play without De'Don Thomas tonight. Kentucky's going to be without their starting point guard as well. Jalen Love went out. He's going to be done for the season. They'll also be without their starting center tonight, Jaden Quainance. But Kentucky's a 4.5-point favorite if that interests you. I'm interested to hear what Scott Rabley has to say when we have him on the next hour, because yesterday or the day before, the Advocate staff sat down with Verge Osbury. And Osbury, this is the first extensive interview that he's done since he became AD, where he sat down and talked about a variety. He's done a few little things, but or short interviews, but this was a long form.
He's right after they locked up Levitt.
I guess. Yeah.
I wouldn't either.
But he talked about this was the I read the story, and this was the line that caught me. It says, the days of being good at everything just can't exist because the funding is not there. And I just wonder if he's talking about men's basketball.
Sure he is.
And
that's one of the things.
Everybody's going to be, McMahon's going to go at the end of the year, and that's certainly what we expect. But if you're not going to put some money into the program, you're just going to replace Matt McMahon with another Matt McMahon, another coach that I don't know has the resources to win here. So maybe he's talking about other sports. Maybe he's talking about cutbacks somewhere else. But I'm going to ask Scott what he meant by that, because I don't think that LSU has put their full the full weight of the brand, that word that I hate. They haven't put the full weight of the brand behind basketball in a long time. Even Wade did a lot of it himself. He had to fight him tooth and nail.
Everybody minus football is doing it themselves.
Yeah, and Wade's going to have to do it himself.
That's not uncommon for a lot of programs in the SEC.
And that's what the next guy's going to have to do. I think he's going to have to go out and when Skip got here and Joe Dean said we can't afford seats, he went and bought them himself. He went and raised the money, bought them himself. Remember the chairback seats in the grandstand? He told us that story. Hey, we can't have the lights improve because we don't have the money. He went out and raised the money himself, and I think the next basketball coach is going to have to go out and beat the streets himself. I think the support from the administration is going to be...
Why are you having this epiphany? Of course.
Because the athletic director said this yesterday.
Well,
but that's why I'm... And I don't know if he's talking about basketball.
Would he chase his money on his hire, okay, and gave this guy a competitive budget? But it's up to him.
Yeah.
I mean, when they divvied it up, okay, were the hungrier coaches that raised their money themselves, were they cool with, wait a minute, this guy's not working as hard as we are?
They were not.
They were not. Because you are a fundraiser. You're a fundraiser in football. So, but we gonna give you that because that pays the damn bills, and that's the way it should be.
And football
okay?
should have the number
should
one.
be.
I
mean,
have no problem with what they're spending in
I'm,
football.
I'm good with Verge being a football guy in that position because it should.
And that's a lot
okay?
of what is in here.
Because then football flourishes. You can. Now you're gonna have to throw back in football too, but no. This just in, Charlie. I don't know why it takes you to sit down with Verge and the Advocate. Though you are a fundraiser first.
First of all, I've said this as many
Right,
times as you have, but you're asking me why I'm revisiting the topic today. I'm revisiting the topic today because Kentucky's coming into the PMAC tonight, and the place is going to be dead by comparison for some of the Kentucky games in the past. And because the athletic director sat down and said this.
Why is it? I know, but it didn't. We know this already. We didn't need Verge to tell us.
Well, I thought we kicked the topic around a little bit.
You know, when I say something, it goes. But when you see it in black and white, oh, here it is.
No,
we know.
I'm sorry, I love you, but the athletic director
is Jay Johnson
counts
a fundraiser?
more than you do.
Does he
Yes,
hustle?
he is.
Okay,
yeah.
you know,
and so is Skip Mulkey. Yes,
Skip. How long ago was he a fundraiser?
In the 80s.
Okay,
in the
all
80s.
right.
So
you know, everybody's got to be a fundraiser. Did DD hustle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's Jay's doing the hustle.
And
okay, you know what? The women's tennis and the
men.
you know what separates the men's and women's right now? They got one big one on the women's side. Donor. One big one.
Mm-hmm.
Danny's hustling. Danny's excellent. But it's uphill battle. They landed on the women's side, one biggie. Okay? And that helps, it helps them. Now, the interesting part, why is it noteworthy today? Because Kentucky doesn't play by those same rules in basketball.
They're different. Kentucky is different.
The average is 15% of your collective. What are they getting? 45. Okay, they care about it, and they're going to give more. Okay, and that's going to take away from some football. And that's going to take away from our beloved baseball, or theirs, which has actually been pretty good lately, better than ever. But, yes, everybody's a fundraiser first. In everything but football. Has to be. The better fundraiser you are, the better hustler, the more just the hire itself in football. And even football has to be a fundraiser. You have to be.
Yes.
You have to. If they hired Drinkowitz from Missouri, would that excite the private donorship?
No. Excite, no.
20. Two level. You hire Kiffin. If the Drinkowitz is a 2, where is that from 1 to 10 on the exciting the private donorship?
Between a 9 and a 10.
Yeah. Go. That's why they, and with all of whatever and this and that and everything, he wants to go down to the damn game with the governor, which is dumb, whatever. But he's exciting your private donorship. Now, ultimately, you got to win.
The basketball coach is probably not going to be a name that anybody here, unless you're a basketball junkie, is familiar with, no matter who they hire. I mean, they're not going to go hire Calipari away from Arkansas, Bill Self away from
the hottest name. The hottest name is without a doubt. He's going to be the hottest name. I don't know if he's going to leave. He's at a Power 4 program. He's undefeated.
The guy at Vandy?
Freddie Hoiberg.
Oh, yeah.
You are undefeated in this state. They rolled again last night.
Yeah.
They're like 6-0 in the Big Ten. And you want to look at the list of coaches in the Big Ten? It is a Hall of Fame list from top to bottom.
They beat a pretty good one last night by about 40, Dana Altman.
It's not a good team for Altman this year.
No.
They're 1-5 now in the league.
Obviously not.
But they were down early, and I don't know, one guy shot 7 of 12. But they're legit. They were down 16 at Alumni Hall on Saturday in the second half and won by 7. In Bloomington.
4 undefeated teams left.
This just in. Nebraska's always should be better than Indiana in basketball. This just in. Indiana should always be better in football than Nebraska.
Dogs and cats living together.
Speaking of college baseball, we honor for LSU baseball games. When we start?
Middle of February. About 4 weeks.
So we will have, basketball games as well. We honor the game day specials over here at hey, it's just around the corner as well, which we participate in over here at Modesto, and that is Restaurant Week. Restaurant Week is just around the corner, a couple of weeks, January 27th to 31st. So it's a way for you to come in, and if you're a regular, come in and get a great deal on it. We'll be in one of the tiers. I don't know, maybe $25. I don't know exactly which. Over here at Modesto and over at Roca, we usually do participate in Restaurant Week. So it's coming just around the corner, Charlie, January 27th, 31st. And don't forget tonight, every Wednesday night here at Modesto, 4 p.m. to close is margarita flights and tequila flights. Moscona said he's coming over here today to get his margarita flight, probably after he's done.
I heard you. He said he wanted like 6 or something. Something about.
I gave him Houston. I gave him the under. And for you draft,
you put the bet in wrong.
No, for the boost. No, he didn't scroll down to see where the unders were for Rodgers' passing yardage. He just took the over.
Oops.
Oh well, I give you the under. You take the over.
Not as much.
Guess what? On the bright side, I told him. Probably won't lose any more passing yardage over bets on Aaron Rodgers anymore.
No, that's probably the last one. Live at Modesto, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Moscona, weekday afternoons at 3 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And return here at Modesto, where we can always get the show on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. New Handycast with the transfer portal additions film study that we dropped last night on YouTube. Available right now. It's all brought to you by Supreme Rice, supporting our Louisiana farmers since the 1930s. When we do our third part next week, we'll add the name Husan Longstreet, who has, according this story was breaking as we came on the air. I wanted to make sure it was all legit before I went with it. But Pete Nakos has reported this, and a number of affiliates have picked it up just since we started the show. So LSU gets Husan Longstreet, who was a 5-star at USC last year, was the number 21 player in the country. The word is that in watching him on film, he's about 6'1", about 200 pounds, played just a little bit for USC last year, just in 4 games, only threw 15 passes last year. But the talent is significant. Longstreet is considered a true dual threat. Is considered a perfect
throw the ball. That means he can run.
He's got a very strong arm,
live arm accuracy.
He threw 13 for 15 at USC last year. I can give you high school stats if you want, but this is a kid that most people thought would be looking for a starting job in the transfer portal.
Yes.
After sitting 1 year. The fact that he's coming here and he knows that Sam Levitt is here, I think is a pretty.
That's a more move,
huh?
That's a more move when Dylan Gabriel's in Eugene.
Yeah. That's a very good comparison. I mean,
this is the guy a week ago. This is Plan D or whatever it was. Now you got both of them.
You got both of them. Oh. This is a big get because this is the future of the position, and now you got a full quarterback room.
And then the kid who really had a nice year at Elon.
Landon Clark, yeah. So you've got
it's Elon, right? Where's he from?
Elon, yeah. So now you've got your starter. You got to get through the injury stuff in this, the rest of the year. But okay, you got a 2-year starter from Power 4 conference school that went to the playoffs in his redshirt freshman year that fits the mold. You've got a 5-star that hasn't really played yet but has buku upside to sit behind him for a year. And Landon Clark, who's just 1 year at Elon, had very good numbers there. We went through the film last night. He checks a lot of the boxes. He played at Elon. Okay, I get it. That's a haul, man. That's a haul.
In a week, you've gone from, man, we're running out of quarterbacks. Who are we going to get? And there's some panic. You failed at the questions. Can't go around town where people have a little bit of panic to who has this quality depth in the quarterback room.
Because this was going to be the hardest. This was going to be the hardest ad was the backup quarterback. You got to talk a kid into coming here knowing he's not going to be the starter unless Levitt's foot is not ready to go. To be able to talk a kid in at this time, day and time, I'm sure they gave him plenty of money to say, you're coming in, but you're not going to be the starter this year.
5 stars concern me a little bit because the 5-star-itis and because coaches more than ever are afraid to coach. You have some You have some, like he's got it going on in Bloomington. That's a coachable roster. Okay? But, and I said it at the time, I'm not just saying it conveniently here. Oh, and I said it when we were doing our podcast for preseason in the Big Ten preview. I'm impressed by 5 stars doing humbling things. He's coming here knowing he's a backup. Moore went to Eugene knowing he was sitting a year behind Dylan Gabriel. And he had a very good year. Had a crappy night Friday night. No getting around it. Crappy night. Okay, but he was really good. It was a big piece by Oregon. Was in the semifinal. So that impressed me. It just a kid who's, and if he's a 5-star, Charlie, they've been on him since 8th grade, man. You know what I mean? And he's been
Kiffin
told,
recruited him at Ole Miss, so he knows the kid. I mean,
okay, that's fine. But I'm just, no matter who recruited him, I don't know if Dan Lanning recruited more. I don't know. But I know that he's a 5-star, and he started 4 games. This guy didn't even start 4 games.
Right.
And he went and sat for a year. And those guys don't have to sit.
No, he could have found a starting job somewhere. He chose to come here and to come and play for
Kiffin. Don't you
Kiffin.
think that year of sitting, acclimating in the system prepared him more for this year?
Yeah, that's why I didn't expect him to sit 2. He said last year he's going to sit again this year. That you don't. Most of the 5 stars don't do that. He sat at USC this year, and he's going to sit at LSU this year.
Well, Moore basically sat his first year. I mean, they threw him in there for a few starts,
and Moore
then they benched
right.
him again.
Yeah,
so
you just don't expect these guys to, like you said, humble himself. That's right. He could have found a starting job somewhere. Big get for Lane Kiffin for the future of the program. Speaking of Dante Moore, today's the dedeadline for the draft. He's got to say everybody except the 2 teams in the championship game.
Does he have 25 starts?
He does not.
Enough said.
Be the number 2 pick.
Yeah. Yep. But they got an insurance policy too.
They do.
Who's the kid that went there?
From Raiola. From
Dylan
Nebraska.
Raiola. Yeah. I'll take 11. For sure. For show. Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds, the Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings. 296-0060. Full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Fast, friendly, professional services, which you get when you dial 296-0060. Our full standing staff after Legacy Title, Ashley Donald, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Mariana Haynes, Natalie and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing, nobody to choose but you. Choose Chad Reynolds, the Legacy Title, 296-0060. Big dog after a torrid week.
When we come back at Modesto, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Uh-oh, they let the big dog out.
Boom! Out of nowhere.
It's time for the big dog, Randy McKay, with his best picks.
Now, big dog, you take some of that corn you made this weekend. You put a little away now. Put some acorns away for a cold day out there. I know how impulsive you are. You'll run down to Mexico and blow it out. Come back and you dumpster diving for food coupons. Okay. You're torrid pace right now. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, nice and warm here as well, and enjoying the everything going well.
Hey, Randy, I joke with you because I love your temperament, because it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And even experienced sports gamblers and some pros get so, the emotional roller coaster. You have the baseball temperament, my man. It's 162 game season. You never get too up, too down, but Randy, you were pretty damn good last week. Carolina winner, Chicago winner. We'll take a little luck. Under Philly, San Francisco winner. Chargers loser, under in that game winner. And Houston on Monday night winner. You followed it up with Jacksonville as a last-second pick, but well played, my man.
Yeah, everything went, pretty well and pretty according to plan, so I was pretty happy with it. And, got a little future there going with Houston, and we'll see this week, hopefully Stroud doesn't have that same, hopefully got his bad game out of him, but we'll wait and see how it goes. But, yeah, another exciting, getting down there. We only got 4 games to look forward to, and it kind of gets a little sad too.
we all get a little sad at the end of football season, especially when you're in a heater like this. But Stroud, man, it just doesn't look like Nico is going to play. And boy, Kirk, give him credit, and we watch Kirk a lot in the SEC at Texas A&M, kid out of Arizona, where you are right now. Sharp kid, too. One of my favorite interviews down at SEC Media Days. Really, really sharp kid. And I thought part of his production was catching Pittsburgh off guard. That was their one weapon. I mean, one thing that Bill Belichick, and I think an understudy like Vrabel will take away option A. I just think it's going to be a tough sledding for him when he goes there. But I guess, we've seen Stroud struggle this year, but can't be much worse than what he had. But the defense will keep him in it. I don't know. Certainly, if the Chargers can shut New England down, Houston can. And May was a lukewarm type of, first-time performance for New England. So New England's about a field goal favorite. What you looking at in that game?
Yeah, I already took the 3.5. But there's still some threes out there, even money. I took the 160 for the rollover parlay in that game. Just that this Houston has a little better offensive line. I think they can hold up better than this Charger team against this New England defensive line. So I see some running success there with Marks and Chubb and company like they had against Pittsburgh. And then also, if Collins doesn't play, then they got to initiate the Iowa State core there with Hutchinson and Knoll there. So they got a couple guys that can fill in pretty well, and then Schultz the tight end. So, just hopefully Stroud can get out of the way here. This defense reminds me of the 2001 Ravens a little bit. I think they can dominate their way to the championship, and Stroud kind of reminds me of Trent Dilfer a little bit. So I think they should be able to expose me and the Pats' offensive line, cause havoc like you talked about, and this could be another ugly low-scoring game in New England, and they prove they can hold up in the weather. The weather's no issue for this team. In fact, might even help them with their defense. So, I see this being a close game, even though Vrabel knows this Houston team pretty well, coaching against them in Tennessee. But I still see Houston hanging in there, this game being close right down to the stretch.
Yes, indeed. One team that did get their rushing game going was the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, Toot and Rush for 20, Toot and Rush for 14, Toot and Rush for 13. To cap it off with a Lawrence to Thomas Jr. Touchdown, and Tootin touches the ball one more time. They give it to him the rest of the game. I gotta believe that Sean Payton will not take his foot off the gas if they're getting any type of run production against his Bills' porous rush defense. And then you got the other side. Wait a minute. I'm going to take Bo Nix against Josh Allen. I don't know. This line is flipped around. Buffalo opened up the favorite. This is exactly the favorite of the spread movement last week. Last week at Jacksonville, they opened up 1.5, closed out plus 1.5. Opened up 1.5 at Denver. Currently, it is plus 1.5. Denver and Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo won big last year in the playoffs, and I don't see that being anything to really look into. If anything, it was just kind of a warm-up game here for the young Bronco squad going into this year. I got a small play here on plus 05 I took before the line did move. This Buffalo team is mounting up on injuries, especially on wide receivers. A couple guys are out now, and they might get one guy back. So I'm not sold on that, and I'm not sold on this, this weak defense that also has injuries as well, along with Allen. We see Allen a little banged up as well, but this injuries we see, the linebackers Milano and some of that company, looking questionable as well. The Denver getting a full rest here. I trust Nix and company, off the rest here to come out with a good game plan, stick with the run, unlike. We saw the rookie coach here make his mistake, I think, in the playoffs and that ended up being the difference in the game. And they'd want to throw the ball, but if you're running the ball, just keep running the ball. I mean, I just didn't understand some of that when you got a couple good running backs there. So so I like this. I lean even this game under if it gets to 47. This defense. This defense is pretty strong, off the bye week. So, we've got number 2 defense here in Denver. So I'm going to take defense versus offense here and lean towards or take the Broncos plus the money and then lean under if it gets to 47.
Yeah, Lim Cohen got away from what's working easy. And it just, when you're running a ball like that, it makes it so much easier to throw as well. So, man, when you can do that, I've got to believe it's hard to predict with coaches, but Peyton has looked at that over and over. Like, they are going to stop us running the ball before. But then we looked it up yesterday. Of all of the concerns and just sort of, with Nicks and how to try and protect, he has attempted more passes than any other quarterback in the NFL this year. Give credit to Max for digging that up for us yesterday. But even with the limited and injured weapons, targets that Allen has, they had guys wide open. I mean, I just don't see that against this much highly respected Denver secondary.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to get open against that. That secondary is very strong. The pass rush is a lot better for Denver as well. So that's going to be an issue as well. So, we'll see. It's going to be, they're down to, 3 wide receivers if they're talking about getting one guy back. So we'll see. And the tight ends are banged up as well. So it's just too much of a mash unit for me to look at the Buffalo side.
They got to be disgusted, too, to lose all those guys because this is the year.
Yeah.
Mahomes and Burrow are out. Baltimore's out. There's a path there against quarterbacks that have very limited experience. But you're right. They're leaking oil.
All right, Saturday night in the NFC, it's a rematch of that late season game. Seattle and San Francisco. Seattle dominated that game and still was only 13-3. Very late there, but Seattle, it's dropped down to an even touchdown now, 7 minus some juice at our friends at Bally's in the Queen, the DraftKings outlets. 7-45.5. Speaking of injuries, Kittles is now out, but Fred Warner practicing in a limited role for the 49ers coming into this one.
Yeah, I got ahead of the number here a little bit and took the 7.5. I just think this is too much in the, playing the team for the third time, which is, a little bit of an issue here. And, team split, and like you said, 13-3, and then they played in the first week of the season. Seattle could be fat and happy off the bye. Sometimes teams get like that. And then we also know the Sam Darnold struggles in the big game at times too, and he didn't have a great game against this. Banged up San Francisco defense, which, came to play against the Eagles and held in there and got the win at the end. But, we got another Shanahan game plan versus this tough Seattle defense. This last matchup, they didn't have Trent Williams at O-tackle. They'll have him back. They did lose Kittle on that bad injury, but they also get maybe Pearsall back as another weapon to help that offense for Purdy and company if they can get some time to throw there, which is always an issue against this tough front four as Seattle. So I see San Fran hanging in this game, another exciting game. And, look at all the exciting games we had last week. Teams leading into the 2-minute warning didn't do very well last week. I think they lost the first 3 of them. So, I could see this game being another kind of game like that.
All right, Seattle on Saturday night. Then the chilly temperatures in the teens we're looking at. Chicago, make it 7 times this year. 2-minute warning, we're down. They win. So record number of games for the Chicago Bears. So the Bears in their first playoff game, business as usual for them. 7 times now this season. That's an NFL record to be down at the 2-minute warning and still win the game. Rams, the biggest thing that comes to mind, you're talking about cold temperatures in the Rams, talking about that snow game in Philadelphia last year, the divisional game, by far the most resistance that the NFL champion Philadelphia Eagles last year had. And Puka, who carries from Hawaii, he looked just fine. Remember that catch toward the right sideline to set them up where they were in the red zone at the end of the game. Stafford heated up. Man, he looked good as well down the stretch. This line is teetered between 4.5 and 3.5. Right now it's 3.5. Rams, road favorite, although they're 4-3 down the stretch and haven't covered. Another game where they don't cover in Charlotte this past weekend. Rams road favorite here in Chicago.
Yeah, and you brought up the weather factor. It could be one of the coldest weather playoff games that we've seen, so it should be exciting viewing here, watching in a nice warm environment in front of the TV for us. But I took some 4.5 at opener here. DraftKings actually had a 4.5. Still okay to take it +4 at a few shops. You know, this LA Rams defense kind of got exposed. You know, not strong enough to hold up leads. You know, the Panthers, give them all the credit in the world. Bryce Young and company, you know, kept that game exciting and had a chance to win. You know, and then you've noted, though, the Bears' comeback victories this year. They're just kind of a team that hangs around, and then finds a way to win. You know, this offense, a little beat up, you know, with Stafford as well with this hand injury. He wasn't as accurate after that hand injury, and that kind of played a factor in the role of them not covering that game, in my opinion here. So, you know, you get a little bit banged-up Rams team going into the cold, which they should be used to, but still, I like the Chicago team getting 4.5 at home, and this game being a close game. See it maybe being a little high score, depending on the wind. It could be a little higher scoring game. I see the total went down, but we could see it going back up if they verify the winds aren't that strong.
Pushing up against the break, but so Denver and Buffalo is your favorite total of the 4?
Yeah, the Denver under definitely would be one of them, you know, and you know, the Buffalo one. Yeah, the Buffalo Denver is the best one. Yep.
All right. Well, Football Sunday originates from Bally's here in town. Update me if you get any add-ons, and we'll pass that along to our audience. You're very popular down over here right now. You don't just eat one time, Randy. We feed you for a whole week next time you come down here to Louisiana. So keep it up, my man. Great job, and we'll be on your back again, my man.
Yeah, I always like that gumbo down there, so let's get some more gumbo, and let's eat up, and have a good weekend, and good luck, everybody out there.
Thank you, Randy. Good luck, buddy. Appreciate it. Don't forget our friends here at Modesto in our Wednesday night flights, okay? So it's tequila flight with Tremamania tequila. The margarita flight is pineapple jalapeno, skinny berry, and mango nada. Mango nada, I would think. A little mango, a little pina colada. So that is our margarita flight. Tequila flights and margarita flights, 4 p.m. to close tonight and every Wednesday night here at Modesto.
Live at Modesto, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Scott Rabelais with us at the top of the hour. We'll ask him, among other things, about Husan Longstreet, the Southern Cal quarterback, the former 5-star who has signed with LSU within the last hour or so, right about the time we were coming on the air. Didn't play much last year, but just a ton of potential and 4 years of eligibility. And when you consider that Lane Kiffin signed Sam Levitt to be the starter and then talked this young man into coming here anyway, especially with the quarterback-desperate teams, quarterback-needy teams, maybe desperate teams like Tennessee and Miami throwing big money out in the portal right now. It's a very, very big get for Lane Kiffin, and you gotta really recruit when you got your starter and you're recruiting a backup quarterback of this ability. Strong play there by Kiffin. Hour number 2, straight ahead at Modesto, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Enjoying the finer things in life is his forte. Let's bring in Scott Rabelais from The Advocate.
And return here at Modesto's Tacos Tequila Whiskey here, Burbank at Nicholson. Real short walk. Baseball starts a month from yesterday, and softball, your gymnastics, basketball. It's an easy little jaunt onto the campus here from Modesto. Scott, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well. Considering all the stuff that starts to go on this year, and of course, all these seasons overlapping, and then transfer portal season is still overlapping on top of that.
Yeah,
we got going on, but there's nothing like to write about.
You know, we'll get to the transfer portal thing in a second, but you guys had a sit down. You know, it makes it sound like one of those mob thing. We had a sit down. You guys had a sit down with Very Jawsbury, a lot more friendly. What did you take out of that? I read the story. He talked a lot about football and about some other things too. But give me your read on some of the things that Verge had to say with that sit down with the Advocate.
Yeah, Wilson Alexander and myself. We talked for a little over an hour at his office on the 6th floor, his new office, and obviously talked to Verge many times, but it's over the years. But it's the first time in his role as athletic director of a press conference, something like that. We started off with the plans for the new basketball arena. Is it happening? He said, there's no. He didn't give any specifics on the timeline, but he said that it is going to be built. He's optimistic it's going to be built. It's going to go on the golf course site across Gurrier from Alex Buck Stadium, they're still trying to get all their plans together for that. Talked about obviously hiring Lane Kiffin, and got into some details about Brian Kelly or why he didn't think things went well. He thought they lost their physicality under Kelly, and they're not able to run the ball, not able to get the tough yards, obviously not able to protect the quarterback. And obviously he's very optimistic about the future with Lane Kiffin, the guy he just hired. And as y'all just talked about, you got another quarterback. I'm surprised they got Longstreet as well to go with those other two guys. But anyway, good for them. And then I talked to him about asked him about Matt McMahon. All the major sports are going great. I mean, not football, but obviously there's a new optimism about football, and all the other major sports are going great except for men's basketball. Like we're all grown ups here. Matt's a grown up. He knows what we need. That LSU needs to win in basketball, and they'll assess the end of the season. So there would not be any mid-season change like there was with Brian Kelly. If a change had to be made, it would come at the end of the season. He didn't say that there would be. Obviously, I want to stress that. He said that there would be a change. But he says he knows what the expectations are, and he says Matt McMahon knows what the expectations are, and that was to make the NCAA tournament this season. Obviously, at this point, you got to feel like they got to go 9-6 the rest of the way in conference at least to do that. So a tall order, starting with tonight's game against Kentucky. So. Of course, just some different opinions about the future of, with the college football playoff and NIL and private equity. He said, LSU and the SEC in general, I think it's the general SEC view, is still not interested in private equity, but it's not something they will totally close the door to as well, because obviously everyone, is with revenue sharing and NIL, there's more things to do. And he also spoke broadly of how challenging it will be to continue to have an athletic program that is successful in multiple sports. Football you expect is going to be back up there. Women's basketball is ranked number 6. Gymnastics is ranked number 2. Baseball is ranked number 1 or 2 in the preseason polls. You got a women's golf team that's number 5. After the fall schedule, and a tennis team. I think one of the tennis teams is ranked number 2. So. It's going to be challenging to keep doing that. And so it's impossible, but they're going to have to figure out, what's the best way to make everything good. So it was a very interesting conversation, and obviously we appreciated the time and got multiple stories and columns coming out from this meeting.
Well, and I understand there's a limited amount of money, although there's way more than we thought a few months ago.
Right.
Your coaches have to fundraise. I don't see any way other than that, and that's individual sports. You're going to get your share of the revenue share, and football's always going to get the bulk of that, and has to. I get that. The successful coaches will be the ones that raise money, and it's going to be stuff that when they got into the coaching business, probably didn't think that they would have to do. I remember vividly Sue Gunner having to go out and hawk tickets at the grocery store, and I'm not joking. They would. This was 30 years ago, but this was this Hall of Fame coach that had to go out and basically, ask people to come out to the games, hand out tickets. Skip went and had his players in uniform at the basketball games.
And long ago, they were Mulkey and then we're at Albertsons.
Yeah.
I've sat at Piggly Wiggly with Roger Cador and so trying to get some equipment.
It's not what you thought you'd have. It's not the glamorous part, but it's the necessary part. And there's the sports that succeed outside of football are just going to have to continue to. They're going to have to continue to do that. Let's shift. This Husan Longstreet story is. I'm surprised as you are. For a bunch of reasons. Number one, he got into the portal 4 days into it. 6 days into it, after there had been a lot of other movement. And right about the time that it looked like LSU might have struck out on Sam Levitt and Damon Williams, got in there. Kiffin had recruited him before. Well, he was here this past weekend. But once Levitt signed, you thought this was going to be a hard get to talk a player this coveted into coming in what is likely to be a backup role, at least for 1 year. So when they call Kiffin the portal king, this is a pretty strong shot, Scott, of all he's done in the portal so far. And there's still work to do, but this was a big get. And there's some really surprised people across college football right now with some of the other teams looking for quarterbacks that Kiffin was able to reel in two of the more coveted prospects.
Absolutely. I mean, it has to be. And it looked like, as you said, Charlie, there was a chance at one point when Levitt left Baton Rouge last Tuesday or last Wednesday to go to Tennessee and then on to Miami, that she wasn't going to get him, and they were going to have to struggle to get somebody. And you figured, Landon Clark from Elon, they also signed. But okay, well, maybe they turned a Division II pumpkin and Trinidad Chambliss into Cinderella's glittering coach, this season. So maybe they could do that with Landon Clark. But now it sets up. I mean, you've got competition in the room. You've got depth. You've got guys who are willing to talk. And I heard Landon Clark's interview with Matt Moscona, and it's like, it's a hot school, and these guys are great at doing this, at coaching and preparing quarterbacks, and obviously they have a track record. And you wondered at first why that message doesn't seem to be resonating. And obviously money plays an enormous factor in all this. Sorsby going from Cincinnati to Texas Tech instead of LSU, that was a big deal. But again, I don't know how you get, Charlie and Jimmy. I don't know how y'all feel, but it's taking a little adjustment for me and for I think for a lot of people who follow LSU football to think, dang, they targeted, and this is I asked for just to be sure yesterday. So Lane Kiffin was the number one guy on your list. Yes, they got the number one guy they wanted. They got the number one quarterback in the transfer portal. They got another just recent 5-star prospect, and then they got a backup. Have they gotten every single person they wanted? No, I mean, would they like to have maybe gotten Kevon Lacey? No, but you kept Harlan Berry and you kept Caden Durham and you got some other guys in the portal to play running back, for example. So I mean, it's all looking pretty impressive, and it's just again a little hard to wrap your head around the fact that there've been a lot of times when you're like y'all can all, like I do, remember the coaching searches, just going from transfer portal to coaching search, when it's like, okay, this is not, this guy is just using LSU basically to get a raise where he is. He's not really coming to LSU, and this is and these players are obviously seeing LSU has the means and the support facilities and the staff and the whole program that they want to get on board, and it's a bit of a mercenary game, obviously, nowadays, no question about it. It's certainly different from what it was, in Joe Burrow's day, even just a few years ago. But it's a game that they seem to be playing very well, and you got to wind up with I assume it's still ranked as the number one transfer portal class in the country, and still with a couple of pieces to go. Got to get that offensive line settled. I've been probably need some more guys there, but it's still.
There'll be a couple coming in there at least. So they're not done. I can sum it up in one sentence. We can tell when people are working hard. It's pretty obvious when they're working hard and when they're not. Before we let you go, women's basketball got off to an 0-2 start in the conference, played two really good teams, came back, beat a Georgia team on the road that had a really good record, and then the win against Texas. They got an entire week to prepare to go to Norman. That's another top 15 team. How would you rate where Kim Mulkey's group is after four games?
On an upward trend again. I mean, they obviously stumbled to start conference play with the loss at home to Kentucky. They missed the 3-point shot. LSU ekes out a win, but then they're not happy about it. And they go to Vanderbilt and they lose to a team that's still undefeated as well. It's been one of the stories of women's basketball in this early part of the season. But they made a commitment to rebounding better, to defending better, and that really has shown these last two games. And like they talk about two very contrasting styles. Texas plays like Arkansas's 40 minutes of hell. They just hack, physical. And LSU, they stayed the course. They had some turnovers, but they made Texas turn over more. LSU out rebounded them, and that wasn't easy with Oldacre, the center they brought off the bench. She may be the most massive player, men's or women's, to play in the PMAC this year.
Yeah.
And she had 16 points and 16 rebounds, but she was the only double-figure rebounder they had. So an impressive win for LSU. A lot of tough games left. Like I said, they go to Oklahoma Sunday. They're going to have to go to Texas in February. South Carolina comes here. But if LSU still, I think, has put themselves back in the conversation for being, as they were mentioned in the pre-conference schedule, one of those handful of teams, probably 5 teams, that has a legitimate chance to win the national championship. UConn, South Carolina, Texas, LSU, UCLA. That is probably the team. And I think obviously there was some doubt that creeped in, but I think they've reestablished that. Obviously, Oklahoma remains a big game, but the schedule lightens up a little bit in SEC play after that for a good while. So we'll see how that goes. But a very impressive win. Biggest regular season win under Kim Mulkey, no question.
Rab, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thanks a lot. Scott Rabelais from The Advocate. We're brought to you by the Thibodeau Store, the Pierre Part Store, now on LaRose and Lockport as well. Get organized for the new year. Shop storage and organizational tools available for you. Lots of storage containers on special right now. Cleaning supplies on special all the way through here the month of January. You can go to thethibodeaustore.com. It'll get you to all 4 of the properties if you need to. And then, of course, you got outdoor cooking equipment. You got power tools, hand tools, tool storage, outdoor cooking, outdoor power equipment, patio furniture, ton more for you at these properties down in South Louisiana. We've made our field trips down there to get any number of items, especially, Jimmy, with Big Green Egg Cooker and other outdoor cooking equipment.
Just ready for it to warm up a little bit, Charlie, so I can get back on that green egg. That's all. It's it's not quite grilling season right now, but now's the time to get all your gear ready for your outdoor cooking, whether it's in your backyard, the outdoor kitchen, on site, tailgate. The weather's so great during the spring for the baseball games and stuff like that. So, you do on site festivals. Spring is the festival season. So if you're doing some on site cooking, it's a must, man. It just makes it more enjoyable that you got these things that you got everything you need and so much more that you never thought would even come into hand. It doesn't have to be that difficult or a pain in the butt, man. Go down there and get fully armed. You want all the resources, Charlie, when you do your outdoor cooking.
Same-day pickup for everything off of the website, and delivery available on some of these items, too. Go to thethibodeaustore.com.
Thibodeau Store, I feel like a fundraiser. I'm fundraising, baby, when I go through there.
Live at Modesto, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. From east, north to south, but we're heading west. It's Wes Reynolds from VSiN.
Back here at Modesto, tacos, tequila, and a whiskey. Again, the show's available on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. New Handycast up with Portal Film up on YouTube, brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com.
All right, let's go to Wes Reynolds. Wes, how you doing, buddy? You going east?
We are going to be going to South Florida on Sunday, so very much looking forward to this. And this was seen as impossible, and now it's very possible. It's one game away from going 16-0 in FBS, first time to ever do that, and win a national championship.
I don't expect the dominant crowd. I expect a very big crowd from Indiana, but not the number breakdown. Talked to a veteran ticket broker yesterday, and you know what? I thought that some Miami fans would be giving up some of their tickets, Charlie, and maybe they will, but you know what he said? No travel, and the gotta-be-seen crew has got to be there. So they got to.
No travel, you put the extra money in your tickets.
Absolutely. So, market. I mean, it's going to be high ticket. You secured a ticket already, Wes?
I'm in the process of doing so, actually. And the tickets, not all the allotments, I think, have been put out there just yet. Like, they're slowly continuing to drop from both schools. And both schools, I believe, get about 20,000 apiece, right around there for an allotment. And then everything else is either free-for-all or either corporate tickets. So that's kind of the unfortunate thing. Yeah.
23,000 per team, and in a 19,000 corporate, and sort of the rest. But yeah, it's a nice chunk. So hopefully you'll get it. What about the scene? When you were there in the Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta? I mean, it was. For a neutral site game, quote unquote, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was about it was probably close to 95.5, and the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. By the way, I thought that was a very nice facility. That was my first time ever being there, seeing a game, and other than the fact that they ran out of beer shortly after halftime, it was a very nice facility. It was very clean, and it got very loud. And of course, from the first play from scrimmage there, D'Angelo Pons at that pick six. I've been, to a fair amount of games in a fair amount of different stadiums. I hadn't heard a crowd pop that loud since I was in the old RCA Dome in Indianapolis.
Oh, yeah.
When the AFC Championship, when the Colts made the comeback against the Patriots and Marlon Jackson picked off Tom Brady to clinch the Colts going to the Super Bowl. I had not heard a crowd pop since that in person. It was just unbelievable.
Early game. I mean, that's the Indiana Steve Gleason block, scoop, and score with a punt after the 3-0 by the Falcons and return to the Dome, man. I mean, it was something. It was something. Your concerns about this matchup with Miami?
Well, I think Miami's defensive front in terms of how they get to the passer, they're very disruptive up there. They'll play zone in the back end in terms of coverage, but those front four can get home. So Indiana, Fernando's going to have to – he's had a little bit more time so far in the two playoff games, but he's going to have to get the ball out a little bit quicker. So that is probably my biggest concern is how disruptive they are on the defensive line. Offensively, you would think that they generate a bunch of explosives, but they really don't. A lot of Miami stuff is yards after catch. It's a lot of short passes from Carson Beck. Like when he has to throw a pass over 9 yards, I think he's about 52% completion, whereas Mendoza's about 62.5. So a lot of that is yards after catch. So Indiana's got to do what they've done all year, and that's been one of the better tackling teams in the country. They don't seem to miss tackles. They pursue to the ball, they gang tackle, and they're going to have to do that here against Miami.
Wes, for divisional round in the playoffs for the NFL, what's your best bets this week?
Yeah, I'm debating what to do with this Rams-Bears game. I think I may go Rams team total over 26.5 instead of laying the 3.5 or the 4. I know the Rams got a scare in Carolina, but I think Chicago did it again, so we're going to try to beat them again, and probably maybe we'll be unsuccessful like the last couple times. They just find ways. Trailing in the final 2 minutes, no problem. They find a way to win the game, or the other team finds a way to give it to them. But, somebody's got to take it when they give it to you. So they've been doing that. But I think that the Rams, are the better team. I think maybe getting that scare and having to score in the final 2 minutes in their own right kind of woke them up a little bit because they were one of the biggest favorites in playoff history, and they barely got out there alive there in Carolina. So Rams, in some kind of way, I'm going to take. And then Buffalo, Denver, I like the under in this game because, one, I don't know how healthy Josh Allen is. And you saw that when he got his leg twisted in that first half, he really didn't run a lot in the second half, save for obviously that big kind of tush-push play that got him in the end zone at the end. But he didn't use his legs very much, and I think Denver's going to be prepared for that. Denver's a very good defense. Now, Bo Nix against elite teams, I still worry about him a little bit. So under 46, under 46.5 for me in Buffalo, Denver.
Well, we got PGA kicking it off the season this weekend in Hawaii. Only one in Hawaii. Now, the favorite, Russell Henley, 11-1. Matsuyama at 17-1. Wasn't it Matsuyama who kind of stole it from Henley a few years ago in his tournament?
That's right. Actually beat me in a playoff because I had Russell Henley that year. Russell Henley, by the way, also a former winner here. And then Ben Griffin, one of the shorter prices. I think maybe a little bit too short despite the fact that he had an amazing season last year. But in terms of my card, you're always kind of, because it's been off for so long, so it's obviously a little bit of a crapshoot in the first event. But I hit Nick Taylor here last year as a long shot. I'm not going back with him, but I'm going to go with the guy that maybe could have been in the playoff and perhaps should have won that tournament and ended up finishing T3. J.J. Spawn, 19-1. He was a 54-hole leader. Of course, we know what Spawn did after a couple of near misses, including the Players' playoff loss to Rory. He ends up winning the U.S. Open, and he's kept some pretty solid form, too. He, got to that playoff in Memphis at the FedEx St. Jude, second in this field for strokes gained to pro. So he's one of the best iron players, and that's what you got to be here at Waialae, especially if we're going to get the wins that we expect this week. So J.J. Spawn, 19-1. Corey Connors, another good approach player, 33-1. Hasn't won in a couple years, but the putting improved. And that's always been kind of his Achilles heel, is putting. But he ranked inside the top 100 for the first time in his PGA Tour career, so maybe he can continue that. And then another guy that's played very well here over the years. He's got two runners-up and a third, and that's Chris Kirk, 45-1. And he's also won in correlated events. If you're looking for some success in other similar events, Colonial, Short Par 70, Chris Kirk won there. PGA National, where they have the Cognizant Classic, the old Honda Classic, won there a couple years ago, won at the RSM Classic. So he's won on similar type courses. And then a couple of the longer shots here, Rico Hoey, 50-1. Rico Hoey, by the way, number 2 on the PGA Tour in strokes gained tee to green last year with that ball striking. You got a good guess at who number 1 was. That was Scotty Scheffler. So Rico Hoey, if he can just drain some putts, he's one of the best hitters in the game. Matt McCarty, 55-1. Didn't win last year after he got that Battlefield promotion from the Korn Ferry, but he finished 2025 with 3 top 8s in his last 5 starts. I think he keeps the momentum going. Daniel Berger, 66-1. Got his card back and then finished in the top 50 in the FedEx Cup. Now he's got to get back in that winner's circle. He's also won on similar courses. A winner at Pebble Beach, winner at Colonial. Think he can go well here. And then the longest, Max McGreevy, 90-1. There still might be some 100-1 out there. Now he's missed the cut in all 3 appearances, but he ended 2025 very well with a third and then a runner-up, losing by 1 stroke in that season finale at the RSM Classic. 3-time winner 2 years ago, 2 Korn Ferries and then 1 on the Japan Tour. So McGreevy's a pretty solid player, 90-1, and then obviously look for some placement markets on some of these guys, preferably in the top 20, 30, 40 range. I think maybe going top 5, top 10 in the first event might be a little bit risky, so maybe be a little bit more conservative than go in the 20s, 30s, and 40s.
Your thoughts on, with Koepka coming back, could pay a little fine to lose out on some of that, that sort of that top tier endorsement money, and the quick deadline for others if they want to follow him.
Yeah, I understand maybe if some players would be upset about this, but I'm sure Brian Roloff, the new PGA Tour commissioner, did at least consult with some players. I don't think he just came up with this willy-nilly here, and it's probably the fairest compromise because it doesn't feel like, okay, you're back with no penalty. You took the bag and you're back with no penalty. So he does have to pay some. He doesn't get in the signature event necessarily. So he does have to put it in the dirt a little bit. in terms of earning, but he does have the major championship exemption. Even doesn't get him necessarily, that keeps his membership, but that doesn't get him necessarily every event. So he's still got to earn it a little bit. And Brian Roloff, look, he's not playing any games here. He's like, okay, here's the deadline. You guys want to come back? And he basically made the exception for the major championship winners, for the Ron DeChambeau, Cameron Smith, and maybe he would do it for one or two other guys, at MVP. But that's the game. I mean, that's the way he's going to fight this. And I think it's probably the fairest compromise that you could find. So we will see Brooks teeing it up in a couple of weeks at Torrey Pines. When you flying down to Miami? I will be going into Fort Lauderdale on Sunday afternoon. So okay. Looking forward to it. The stadium, if you've never been to the stadium, it's about equidistant from Fort Lauderdale to Miami. It's in Miami Gardens, which maybe not the nicest area, but that is where it is, Hard Rock Stadium. And looking forward to Kurt Cignati perhaps becoming Kurt Cignati.
Been the U versus the new. So we will see how it goes down. And, I've been there. Been in the stadium. They're going to have so many things set up. It's kind of I've been there for a Super Bowl, and so they have it kind of make it. You don't feel threatened, in the area at all with the crowd. So, and been in Fort Lauderdale, a lot of fun stuff to do. Man, when they have the Super Bowl things, Wes, they have things downtown. It's Aquarium, South Beach, Shula Steakhouse at the stadium. It's all over the place. So not like a New Orleans, everything's within walking distance for all the events, the hotel district, entertainment district, stadium, and all that stuff. Man, safe travels, man. It's exciting. They're rolling right now. We're looking forward to hearing your recap from the game next week.
You bet, guys. Thanks for having me. Go Hoosiers.
All right. Yes, indeed. Hoosiers. Charlie.
The Indiana Hoosiers are playing for the national championship Monday night.
They're
in football.
Beating the crap out of people on the way.
In football.
Yeah. They're
things I never thought I'd live to see. Things I never thought I would see.
Been a long time for Miami. Been a lot longer for Indiana.
Yeah, if never counts as a long time ago.
The favorite quote, Lee Corso. One of my favorite quotes. Well, he got beat 56-3 to Michigan. I told you I'd show you a Big Ten champion.
Hey, speaking of him, I don't know what his health is, but assuming he's got to be on set with ESPN on Monday, right? I mean, they didn't necessarily have to bring him back if this was Penn State and Texas.
He lives in Florida.
He lives in Florida, and
Indiana's there.
School.
I mean, they'll do something. They'll do something.
I mean,
they may go. Herbie may go to his house and do a piece.
If his health is good, I can't imagine he's not there.
I would think they'll do something in some capacity
I want to see him with the Indiana sweatshirt. It'd be fun.
Yes, indeed. Don't forget our friends at Go Chevrolet in LaPlace and Go Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Plaquemine. And now also across the river, it's Go Chevrolet West. So the latest addition to our to Go Automobile dealership family. So you've heard me talk about that when I was in the market for a new vehicle. I called my buddy Lee Carney and set up a deal where I could custom order exactly what I wanted through their website. So did a great job. And then had some electrical issues with my vehicle, called Lee, and they set up the concierge service department. I mean, you talk about convenient. I mean, told them the symptoms. They got me in contact with the service department. They said, what's going on with the vehicle? Okay, can we come up and pick it up at this time? We were doing a show at Chris's Specialty Foods. They picked it up, dropped me off a loaner. They told me, this is what's wrong. This is the work that needs to be done. Need your approval. Give them approval. They get it done. Call it, paid mobily over the phone on the app, and they delivered it back to my home. Oh, you talk about convenient. It's concierge service department at Go Chevrolet and Go Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, and now Go Chevrolet West across the river as well. Again, I don't just talk about the vehicles from Go. I drive a Chevy Tahoe from Go Chevrolet.
Live at Modesto, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Are
Our Wednesday consensus golf picks are brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown.
All right, here we go. We start off the golf season, and so Max's picks this week: Siwoo Kim at 22-1, Chris Kirk at 50-1, Matt McCarthy, Denny McCarthy, Mac Meissner, Meissner, Jacob Bridgman, Nick Dunlap. Was it Dunlap who lost in the playoff last year, and this went to Taylor? Is that right? Charlie,
got me
we're
there.
doing a show. I was off at that time.
Right.
And then S.H. Kim bombs away at 250-1. So our other contributor, Rico Hoey, is a common pick. So 3 common picks or consensus picks this week: Chris Kirk, Rico Hoey, and Matt McCarthy. So there you go. Chris Kirk, Rico Hoey, Hoey. And like you said, he irons 150 to 175 in, and he's better than everybody statistically on the tour. Then Mr. Scotty Scheffler. So Matt McCarthy, Scheffler not participating this week. But because there's only one in Hawaii this week, they had a water drought last year. And so they had to schedule the one that was scheduled for last week. This is the only one. It's a little bit better field than they usually get. Still pretty good. And, yeah, J.J. Spawn is a short shot. That was Wes's shortest shot on the board. Kirk, Hoey, and McCarthy, brought to you by our friends at the law offices of O.C. Brown. Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown for all of your legal assistance. You not sure if you need a legal representation or not? Pick up the phone, call 343-1111, or go to ocbrown.com and click on, right as you click on the main page, it comes up and shows you how they, just click on, set up your initial consultation. It's free, so take advantage of it. You'll meet with one of our legal specialists in what area that this pertains to, whether it's a traffic accident or you name it, anything. Take advantage of it. From Dana Brown, Chris Perrette, Susan Brown, David Connican, our great staff over at the law offices of O.C. Brown. 343-1111 and ocbrown.com. Charlie's law firm for a lifetime, my law firm for a lifetime. Make it yours as well. Downtown Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown.
It's amazing how quick things can change in this college football world. We were talking with some people yesterday. They said, you guys talking about recruiting? Well, recruiting is now the transfer portal. This is what we used to do in January. You talk about commitments, decommitments, all that. The transfer portal makes the old recruiting month of January look like it's going in slow motion. 5 days ago, LSU didn't have a quarterback on their roster. 5 days ago. Now they've got arguably one of the more enviable quarterback rooms in the country with Sam Leavitt and now Husan Longstreet to go along with Landon Clark. And I'll be honest with you, I thought that Longstreet's involvement, this was last Thursday, it was not even a week ago, him jumping into the transfer portal had a lot to do with the openings for a starting job that weren't panning out, and LSU was one of those, because when Leavitt left the building, the PMAC last Wednesday, the game against South Carolina, and was going to Knoxville and was going to Miami, I got to be honest with you, I didn't feel great about him coming here. This was the 48 hours where Damon Williams was in the was sort of in the portal, but really not. Leavitt was going to Knoxville. He was going to Miami. Both of those teams were assuming that they're not going to win the appeal over Tennessee. Both those teams looking for starting quarterbacks. Well, if he was going to go there, the price was just going up. Were you going to get him, or were you going to pivot to Longstreet? And it looked like LSU was pivoting to Longstreet. He comes into Baton Rouge last weekend for a visit. Kiffin follows Leavitt to Knoxville. He still goes to Knoxville. He still stays in Knoxville. He still goes to Miami. You get him anyway, and then you reel in Longstreet as well. I don't know that. I don't know that anybody could have realistically expected that. If you'd have proposed that to me last Friday, everything's going to be fine. Kiffin's going to follow Levitt to Knoxville, going to talk him into it, let him take his visits. He'll commit next week, and then they're bringing in Longstreet for a visit this weekend, and they'll sign him next Wednesday after Levitt signs.
Okay, well, it's a little bit extenuating circumstances. I mean, Levitt's hurt.
He is hurt.
Okay, so, Longstreet's not coming if he's 100%. I just can't see it.
I don't know about that.
Well, information I got is that he was kind of, he'll get a lot of reps in spring.
He will get a lot of reps in spring.
He'll get a lot of reps in spring, and if he's still hurt, do they? There's no doubt the three, and I don't discount the kid from Elon because he had for that level. He played, and we have seen, and look, the Chambliss things are. It's a little bit loft. That's completely different. But he showed that you can be really good at the next level. I'll tell you what, you watch a kid play for Illinois State. He ain't real big either, but boy, he can play. There's no doubt about it. I think he's out of eligibility. But anyway, Charlie, they're probably not getting all three, but they did. And so now you have it, and this is not just quality in your quarterback room, but his depth as well. It's quality depth. But also, I'm willing to put, it's probably conservatively top 3 as far as highest paid quarterback room.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you got a guy who had to get on him. And I joked yesterday because Brian Kelly's not doing it. He's not chasing the guy to Tennessee.
No.
He's not doing it. Kiffin did what he had to do.
And, again, there are teams out there that are desperate for quarterbacks. If we believe the reports that Miami was willing to offer Ty Simpson north of $6 million to come out of the NFL draft. And he said no. We know that they are – now, Simpson's an established quarterback, no injuries and anything else. I get that. He's a proven deal. But still, north of $6 million to get him to pull his name out the draft, which he decided not to do. That the pressure is ramping up on those two programs, at least at Tennessee and Miami, to find a quarterback. And you still reel this kid in?
Well, Kiffin's got more budget. And Kiffin's better at it than them. So Kiffin with a budget, man, look out. Isn't this why he was hired? Isn't this why he was number 1? Or they just love his character?
No, I think there's something to these kids wanting to be coached by him, these quarterbacks. But this to me, I said this way before we knew who was going to transfer portal. The toughest position to fill on this transfer portal class was going to be the backup quarterback, because who comes to sit? He talked 2 of them into it, and one of them a really, really highly rated kid. So all that's left really is the offensive line.
Kid gets an offer from a program like LSU.
Sure.
So, even with the dumps, it's just you still make a strong case. Right now, we're a top 10 program.
Yeah.
In the top league. That's
I would have understood if they had gotten Levitt, they had gotten Clark, maybe, and then the third quarterback would have been just north of a preferred walk-on.
I'm surprised as well.
Okay, yeah. So
I'm surprised as well.
This is
but that's why you're not getting this third guy if Levitt is 100% healthy.
And yesterday we were talking about bringing in Ryan Staub from Colorado.
It's kind of like, Charlie, and here's your private donors. You ever hear the thing? Man, I don't mind paying, but I just want to make sure I'm paying for that restaurant that food is good. Yeah. I don't mind paying. Private donors. I don't mind paying if you're going to get out and work and hustle.
He's out
and get out.
He's out there working.
And his specialty is, man, there ain't never been a quarterback that didn't put up numbers in my system. Never.
So now you got 3 offensive linemen that are on the horizon from Ole Miss. Devin Harper, who was once committed to LSU, Sean Tompkins from Baylor, and of course the prize is Jordan Seaton. I was talking to somebody yesterday. So, do they really have enough money for him? I have no idea how much money they got, but apparently they
in football they do.
I don't know what they're paying Longstreet, but this budget apparently has not run out yet. So,
United Community Bank, the local way to bank big with locations from Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow, including their newest right down the street They got all the money, Charlie. That's where they're getting it all. At the Burbank and Bluebonnet location, I've got an account over there. They're really great people. So running a business can be difficult enough without the right relationship with your bank. With United Community Bank's local business bankers, you're not just a number, you're a partner. Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, David Henry, and my buddy Prentice Wilkes, our great team of bankers over at United Community Bank. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. We lend money to LSU's collective.
Nick Taylor won the Sony Open in a 2-hole playoff against Nico Echevarria last year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Echevarria.
Yeah. All right. Live at lunch here from Modesto, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Tacos, tequila, whiskey here at Modesto, right off the LSU campus corner of Burbank and Nicholson. 5 games in the league tonight. Of course, LSU, Kentucky, we talked about at the top. Number 10, Vandy, one of 4 undefeateds still in college basketball. Going to Texas tonight as a 4.5-point choice. Texas popped Alabama, one of the more surprising results over the weekend in Tuscaloosa. They come home as a 4.5-point underdog tonight against undefeated Vandy.
Like Vandy there. They're going to get tripped up somewhere over this Texas. I think that's going to be more of an outlier, Charlie. Alabama fell behind double digits early at the hump in Mississippi State, then blasted them by 20. Phylon, who's just so fun to watch. He's a lock, first team All-SEC, probably makes some All-American teams, but career high 32. Just continues to build on some impressive offensive performances. So, Oates calling out his team a little bit before last night. So anyway, but the Vandy, they keep on winning. We'll see, but they should take care of business tonight.
You wonder how many points are going to be scored in this game. They gave up 88 at Alabama. That's no big deal. But the last time they were at home against Mississippi State, they gave up 101. Now that was an overtime, but still 101 points. And they gave up 85 on the road at Tennessee. So the Texas defense, not exactly exemplary, but they shot the ball well in Tuscaloosa.
Had a key injury too, but Miller just first year at all. It's not. He's not dealing with a full cover, the typical deal. So I can't see Texas being a tournament team this year.
They are 10-6 and 1-2 in the SEC. So the net is down.
I was watching Texas A&M last night, man. Nobody presses like that, man. Nobody does that. The buckyball.
They got a couple of lousy calls at the end of.
They could have easily. Probably should have won.
I think so too.
Last night against Tennessee. Now I think that young, talented Tennessee team, which is totally on Barnes right now, they're not defending like that. I thought they grew up a little bit last night. A tough win at home.
Thanks to Modesto tomorrow, where Sammy's in Prairieville. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 350-plus undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.